Hi, my name is Lauren Schimmeler. I'm the Dining Service Manager here at Thornbridge Gardens in New Westminster. Today we're going to do a quick demonstration and show you a dessert that we've come up with for the Living Loving Local campaign in January. The theme is beans and lentils. Last year when we were playing with this, we did the same typical things that we wanted to do. We tried some different soups, we did some side dishes, and we also incorporated them into salads. But we also discovered that we can do some really great baking with it. And something that we found that we're still putting on our menu today, our residents love it, is a black bean brownie. It's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, it's vegan, and you would never know. It's moist, it's delicious, it's quite rich, and you would never know that there's black beans in it, but it gives it a really nice texture. So this year, we're gonna do a red lentil chocolate raspberry lasagna, and I'll show you how we put it together. So this morning I started with making my chocolate mousse. I did it in the traditional way. I started with dark chocolate and butter, and I melted that over a double boiler. Then I added my egg yolks once the mixture was cooled. I whipped my egg whites to a soft peak in the mixer, and then I whipped my whipped cream with sugar, and then I incorporated that into the cool chocolate mix, and I alternated egg white and whipping cream, and it gives a nice fluffy texture. So I started with that, and then I let it set in the fridge. So now that the mousse is set, I'm gonna make the second layer that's for the dessert lasagna. So here's my red lentils. Once they cook, they're not so red, and they also have quite a firm, mushy consistency. I would never use these for something that I'm doing on a salad where I want them separate from each other. This one turns more into almost like a split pea, so it cooks very similar. So I'm going to put this into my RoboCoupe food processor. This is about 3 cups of cooked. I'm adding cream cheese. And I'm adding some raspberry jam. And while I blend this up, I also have my mixer with just some heavy cream. I'm gonna get that whipped up, and we're gonna mix them together. So one last ingredient that I'm gonna add to the red lentil mix is anise seed. And it's an optional addition. It has a licorice flavor. I wasn't sure the first time I made this recipe, so I used very little. Then the next time I did it, I actually increased it, and it's a very nice subtle touch to this light, refreshing dessert. So it's here, and I'm just adding that right into my mix. So now I'm just gonna fold some whipped cream. There's no sugar or anything in this. I'm gonna whip this into the raspberry mixture. You wanna go nice and light when you fold it in so that you don't collapse the air and it stays light and fluffy. It's one of the nicest things about this dessert is it's very, very light. So now I have my raspberry layer all finished, ready. It's nice and light. The last step I'm going to do before we start assembling is I have some fresh raspberries. You can use frozen as well. And I'm incorporating that into my chocolate mousse. And now that that's in, we're going to start assembling. So we're ready to assemble. I'm going to start by using a non-stick tray just to make sure that everything comes out easily when it's time to plate. Then we're layering with graham cracker. We also have the option of a gluten-free graham cracker. Mine are regular, but you could, so some of your gluten-free residents can have it as well. And we're just lining the bottom of the pan with the graham. Then I'm going to do a layer of the chocolate and raspberry mousse. As you're putting it in, kind of hold the graham in place. It doesn't slide around, and you make sure that you have a solid base. So our first layer is done. Graham cracker on the bottom, raspberry chocolate mousse on top. Now we're going to do our second layer. So again, lining the bottom with the graham cracker. And then we're doing a layer of the red lentil, raspberry cream cheese. Now because of the lentil, it does look quite thin, but as it sits, the lentil really helps firm it up, and it gives a light but solid layer. And now we let this sit overnight and for up to 2 days in the fridge. The longer you let it sit, the more spongy the graham becomes, and it looks a lot like a lasagna and a little bit like a tiramisu. And now we're gonna start plating. So I'm just gonna start with some chocolate sauce on the bottom of the plate. I made this last night, sat overnight in the fridge, and as you can see all the layers in it of the graham cracker, the chocolate mousse, and the raspberry red lentil layer. Onto the plate. And then we're going to garnish with some fresh mint. And some fresh raspberries right onto the plate. And that's it. So that's your red lentil chocolate raspberry lasagna.